Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back. Peter had a good birthday this week. It was kind of fun to celebrate. I enjoyed some good food. So we were in 1 Kings chapter 17, and we're talking about Elijah and how God had provided for him. Do you remember how God provided? I mean, it was just a week ago. Yeah, that's right. Peter, the ravens came and brought him food. Well, we said that he was by a brook, hiding where God had told him to go, and that brook dried up. And we said that God wouldn't forget about him. God wouldn't be like, oh, oops, sorry, forgot to turn the water on or forgot to pay the water bill. No. God's not like that. God didn't forget about Elijah. But God needs to move Elijah to another location so God can use Elijah in the life of a widow and her son. So in chapter 17, verse 8, it says, and the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, so God's going to talk to Elijah. Verse 9, arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. And so he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks, and he called to her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. So he gets to where God told him to go. He sees a widow and she's out collecting sticks, just picking up some sticks. Okay, so we'll get to what those sticks are for in just a minute, because most of us don't cook that way anymore unless you're looking to roast some marshmallows. But it sounds good, doesn't it, Peter? So God tells Elijah to go. Elijah goes, he sees the widow, she's collecting sticks. And he calls to her and he says, go, fetch me some water. Boys and girls, what's the problem with getting him some water? Yeah, pretty much they've run out, right? Why did they run out, Peter? Do you remember? It hasn't, because the king is evil. Correct. The king is evil, and it hasn't rained, and there hasn't been any dew on the ground for quite some time. And that was all because God was punishing for King Ahab's sin, and Elijah had told him that. Well, Elijah's there with the widow, and he says, go fetch me some water. Well, she's on her way to get him some water, and he hollers out to her again, and he's like, bring me something to eat, too. And the widow's like, she's thinking she has quite a predicament here, boys and girls, because, well, let's see what the Bible has to say. Verse 11. And as she was going to fetch it, he called her and said, bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. Verse 12, and she said, so this is her response to him, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but an handful of meal, which would be like flour, in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. So she tells him, she's like, as honestly as I can say, the Lord knows, okay, as the Lord thy God liveth, okay, I've got a handful of flour that I can mix with a little bit of oil. I'm gathering these sticks. I'm going to make a cake. Basically think of like a piece of bread, boys and girls, or like cornbread maybe. I'm going to make that. My son and I are going to eat it, and then we're going to die. It's kind of hopeless and kindly bluntly stated, but she's basically like, that's it. That's all we've got. And then this is over. And so she's like, basically thinking, I can't make Elijah bread if I don't even have enough for my son and I. So what do you think Elijah says? Is God going to intervene, or is it like, yep, guess I must have the wrong widow. God must have meant someone else. Better go find that widow. No, boys and girls. God has Elijah there to help with taking care of that widow and her son. Verse 13, and Elijah said unto her, fear not. Like, I'm getting ready to die, and you're telling me not to worry? Go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and thy son. Now, boys and girls, I read that verse, and our verse divisions are man-made. God didn't put the numbers in there, so the next verse needs to go with it. But I'm kind of like, if I were her, I'd be like, did you not hear me? I didn't say I had enough for 2. Okay, but verse 14, Elijah does right after, say, for thus saith the Lord God of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth. So as he's saying, go, make me a cake, bring it to me first, and then make for you, he says, as God has said, that barrel that you have that meal in, it's not going to run out until God brings the rain. That cruse that you have oil in, that container, it's not going to run out until God brings rain. Boys and girls, if somebody walked up to you and told, now, God does things differently today, so you might consider it crazy if they did, but imagine being her for a moment. Somebody walks up to you and says, that's never going to run out of food. Now, boys and girls, I like Coke. Peter likes Diet Coke. If somebody handed me a bottle and told me it was never going to run out of Coke, Peter thinks that'd be awesome. His would be Diet Coke. That would be great, right? But we wouldn't believe them. Okay, we all know that I could drink a can of Coke right here and I'm probably going to be thirsty in 30 minutes, okay? We get thirsty again. But it has been promised that this cruse of oil, she's not going to have to go to the market and buy another one. Not that there's any to buy anyways. Okay, it's just going to be there for her. Boys and girls, how often do mom and dad have to go to the store and shop and get more food? Depends how many kids are in your house and how many are teenagers, right? But boys and girls, our food has to be replaced. But God is going to continue. Well, I kind of jumped ahead of myself. Do you think she's going to obey? I gave the answer. Yeah, she is going to obey. Verse 15, and she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she and he and her house did eat many days. And the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah. Boys and girls, as I was reading that and I was thinking about the point that's made, because it's what God said. Now, God used Elijah to say it, and it does say that, but the point is made that it's the word of the Lord. Because it came by God, this is what happened, and God took care of her. I'm going to share a personal story, try to keep it short. Peter was willing to remind me if I don't keep it short. But boys and girls, God takes care of us. On my prayer list, I kind of have some far out there wishes, we'll say, okay, a dream list, a wish list. There we go. I found the right word, a wish list. Okay, and on that was renovating my bathroom. Well, thought I had a leak, didn't have a leak, but thought I had a leak. So it kind of moved up like this needed to be done. I was praying about it. And I even realized the other day as I was praying about it, how God is answering this request. Boys and girls, I'm not wealthy. I know that will shock some of you. I don't have a ton of money sitting around. But I talked to a person who I knew would be honest with me, would give me an honest answer, would work with me. And I basically thought I had to replace a window. And then I told them the amount of money I had and what else could we replace with that amount of money. Well, as we emailed back and forth, they came over to my house, looked at different things. Boys and girls, I'm getting my bathroom remodeled for the amount of money I said, which, by the way, is a fraction of what it should really cost to get the bathroom redone. I'm not paying for any labor that's being done. They are graciously doing all the labor for free, and they're making sure it stays within my budget because they're providing some of the materials, to the point that they're having a cabinet maker design a vanity for the bathroom so I don't have to go out and buy one. Boys and girls, I could go on and on and on, and I won't, with this story of how God is providing something I honestly thought I'd never afford. Now, I prayed for it, and I probably should have had a whole lot more faith that God would provide, but it was something I never dreamed I'd actually afford. In my mind, we would replace the bathtub. Well, the bathtub was actually low end, definitely wish list. That's a whole nother story, isn't it, Peter? I thought I would replace part at a time, and maybe in 10 years, the whole bathroom would be replaced. Boys and girls, I'm getting it replaced this summer. The whole thing, at a fraction of what it should cost me with free labor. I could go on and on. But who did that, boys and girls? It's not me, okay? Like I said, I don't have the money to provide for it. It's because God is graciously providing for me even a wish and a desire that I have that I couldn't do on my own, boys and girls. I couldn't. It would be, like I said, it would be a 10-year project at least to pay for it. And God is graciously providing. Boys and girls, it's not always something big that we see. It has been as simple for me. Like I said, I like Coke. There have been some days at school I've been discouraged. I've walked in my classroom and there has been a McDonald's Coke on my desk. And I just thank the Lord for even those what seems little The ravens, that's right, bringing him the food. Thankfully, a raven did not bring my Coke, but I guess maybe. I didn't see it delivered. Good thing the straw was still closed. But anyways, boys and girls, God provides, big and small. Just serve him. Just obey. Just do what's right and leave the rest to him. We're going to find out that something is going to happen with the widow and her son. We didn't mention much about the son at all, but something's going to happen to him next week, and we're going to find out how God lovingly takes care of the widow and Elijah and the widow's son. Looking forward to seeing you next week and sharing that story.